everyone, this is Warhawk Beyond 2040 and welcome to the first edition of a brand new review series where I am going to be talking about Batman Caped Crusader Season 1, and today I am going to be talking about the Season 1 premiere, Episode 1 in Treacherous Waters, which I have just finished watching. And this episode, for the most part, was pretty solid. It was pretty decent. The animation is absolutely gorgeous. It's every bit as good as the classic BTAS style. I loved Batman's costume. It's a real throwback to the classic 1939 debut. Absolutely loved it. No issues there. This featured the first appearance of the Penguin, who is now a female, named Oswalda Cobblepot. And, you know, I didn't really have too much of a problem with the Penguin being a female. They did an amazing job in making her very scary and very intimidating. And I appreciate the direction they went in. I would have preferred if maybe they could have made her Oswald's daughter, perhaps, or niece, or something like that. But I think for the most part, I appreciate and respect that they just didn't want to rehash BTAS and copy and paste it into the new show, which I respect that. They wanted to make the show stand on its own and they wanted it to be completely different to everything that came before. But I felt that overall that the first episode got off to a pretty strong start. But, time will tell how season one will progress. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was not too bad. I wouldn't say that episode one is going to be a favourite of mine. It's not. But I thought for the first episode, it was pretty decent. I thought it was a pretty solid start. And it pretty much helped set the tone for what the first season of Batman Caped Crusader was going to be all about. They've made some little changes, but sometimes changes can either be a good thing or a bad thing. But time will tell, really. But I enjoyed this episode. I thought it was not too bad. Wasn't terrible. Wasn't great. It was okay. And sometimes that's not really a word you want to use when you're talking about Batman animation. Okay, you want to really say, oh my god, that was epic. It wasn't epic, but it was okay. It wasn't terrible. It was watchable. Let's just say that. So, with that all said, let's not waste any more time. Let's get straight into it. Let's talk about episode one in Treacherous Waters. So, we start off with a darkened room where we see a man named Clarence is tied to a chair, and a man he calls Iggy believes him to be an informant for Rupert Thorne, one of the main top crime bosses in Gotham City. Clarence denies this, but no one believes him, and we see that their boss, the Penguin, appears with a bladed umbrella, and we see the scene ends with Clarence's panicked screams. We then see Rupert Thorne's men hurry to move valuable goods out of the warehouse they have been informed will be a hit that night. As they work, they debate about the rumours of the mysterious Batman that's been going around attacking criminals. We then see Batman appears and quickly takes out all of the gangsters, only for something to drop from the sky and completely destroy the warehouse. In the Batcave, we see Batman discusses the case with Alfred and believes that 3 buildings linked to Thorne have been blown up in the last 2 weeks, with all the explosions being attributed to accidents by city officials. Batman summarizes that an unknown crime lord has declared war on Rupert Thorne and believes that in order to stop the explosions, Batman decides to start at the GCPD in order to find out who is covering up the attacks. We then see in Gotham Courthouse, Barbara Gordon is defending her client against Harvey Dent. When the court recesses, he teases that she's going to lose because her clients refuse to take a deal and turn on his bosses. She accuses him of using every conviction he gets to further his mayoral campaign, and he doesn't argue. He offers her a coin flip for what sentence he will ask for her client. Heads, 20 years in prison. Tails, the electric chair. She angrily refuses to bet a man's life on a coin flip, not knowing that it was a trick coin with heads on both sides. That night at the GCPD headquarters, we see Batman searches through the files and finds the name of the fire inspector that falsified the reports on the explosions. He finds the man staggering out of a bar and strings him up by his ankle in front of an oncoming train, demanding to know who paid him to lie, and he reveals it was the Penguin. Now, this was quite a good scene actually, because seeing Batman in the early years of his crime fighting career really piling on the interrogating and putting over his intimidation skills to full use. So seeing Batman resorting to a lot of these brutal methods to get information, of course, as we all know, is classic Batman doing what he does best. That's getting information by any means necessary. So I thought they did a really good job in establishing Batman as this intimidating and scary force. And, the way they put him over, he's almost like a myth. A lot of people wonder, is Batman really real? And if he is real, is he human or is he something entirely more? So I thought they did a really good job with that. And the way Batman came across in this scene definitely gave me BTAS vibes, but just a little bit different because remember, this isn't the Batman we know quite yet. He's still a novice, he's still trying to find his way, but it's still cool to see that. But just remember, this is a very young Batman to the Batman we will come to know him to be much later on. So we see at the Iceberg Lounge, Oswalder Cobblepot, also known as the Penguin, is hosting a fundraising dinner for the police force, and she speaks with Thorne, saying that she didn't expect him to show due to his office exploding, hiding a subtle threat in her words. He subtly indicates that he received tip from her son Aaron, and we see Bruce Wayne arrives at the party and spills a drink on himself. Excusing himself to clean up, he searches the lower decks and finds a cargo hold loaded with drugs and an open hatch to the ocean below. Hearing voices coming, he dives into the water and climbs back aboard, claiming to have clumsily fallen overboard. Very smooth, Bruce. I like it. Back below, Penguin accuses Aaron of ratting her out, though he protests his innocence. She orders her enforcer Iggy to lock Aaron in a steamer trunk and drop him into the sea. Her other son, Ronald, the actual rat, immediately panics and calls Thorne for help, but is told he's on his own. Upon finding that Ronald is gone, Penguin realizes that he will reveal her whole operation, not really caring that she killed the wrong son. Ronald runs to Barbara Gordon's office, begging for protection, as her father is the only cop he knows who is truly honest. As they drive to the GCPD, they are shot at by Penguin's henchmen. We see Barbara's car is disabled in an alley, and the henchmen close in, only to be run down by the Batmobile. Arriving at GCPD, Ronald insists that they have to leave quickly. He reveals that his mother has cops on her payroll, and one must have informed on him already. He turns out to be correct, as we see detectives Bullock and Flass make a call to the Penguin, and we see that they are on the Penguin's payroll. He goes on to reveal that Penguin has a military-grade, long-range cannon fitted to the Iceberg Lounge, disguised as a giant umbrella decoration, and the Commissioner orders the building evacuated as Batman arrives at the iceberg in his Bat-Sub. Though he is able to subdue Penguin and her men in time for the police to arrive, he is unable to stop Penguin from firing the cannon and destroying police headquarters. As the fire is being put out, Barbara comments to her father that the Batman is real and has a nice car. Meanwhile, we see Batman admits to Alfred that in taking down the Penguin so quickly, he handed more of the city to Rupert Thorne, and he must do better in the future. And that wraps up my review on episode 1 in Treacherous Waters. Overall, this was a pretty decent episode. I thought this helped set the tone for what season 1 is going to be all about. And it was okay, as I said at the beginning. It wasn't terrible, it wasn't great, it was, for the most part, pretty decent. I actually did enjoy this episode, but I wouldn't necessarily say it would go down as one of my favourites. But I thought for the most part it was pretty decent. And, it's cool to see Batman is still a novice and learning about how to deal with crime a lot better. And the very fact that he admitted at the end that he must do better proves that Batman is still learning and he's still in the early stages of his crime fighting career. But overall, I thought this was pretty decent. Penguin being a female, I appreciate that the show wanted to go things in a different direction. That's fine. I thought the female version of the Penguin came across as quite scary and intimidating, but I'm not going to lie, I'm not the biggest fan of the Penguin in general, so this isn't really that much of a big issue for me. But what they did with this version of the Penguin, it's alright. It's not terrible. Would I have done it? Probably not, but as I said, I appreciate that the show wanted to try something different, but I'm not in favour of it. I like things as they are, but by all means, this wasn't bad. I thought it was okay. But as I said, this was a decent episode. In terms of my rating, I would give episode 1 in Treacherous Waters, I'm going to probably give this an honest 6 out of 10, which ain't bad. It's not bad, it's not good, it's somewhere in the middle. Yeah, so I'll give it a 6 out of 10. This wasn't terrible, it wasn't great, it was okay. So, yeah, I'll give it a 6 out of 10. Pretty solid, in my opinion. So that's going to be it from me. I'm going to wrap this up now. What was your thoughts on episode 1? Did you enjoy it? What was your thoughts on the female penguin? Do you think she came across as intimidating? Do you think they did a good job with the female penguin? Or would you have preferred if they stuck to the traditional penguin that we all know? And what was your thoughts on Batman? Do you think they did a good job with having him in his early years of his crime fighting career as a novice and still trying to be a better crime fighter? Did you enjoy that aspect of Batman? You know what to do, guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave your thoughts and comments down below. And I will see all of you next time for another edition of the Batman Caped Crusader Season 1 review series, where I am going to be talking about episode 2, which should be pretty good, especially with the way this episode played out, and should be a good one. And I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out. So until next time, take care, everybody, and stay safe. And once again, as always, much appreciated. Thanks for listening.